George Strait, known as the King of Country Music, earned his spot at the top through years of talent and hard work. He introduced the world to raw, hardcore country, and fans loved it. He holds the record as the 12th best-selling album artist in the U.S., with over 70 million records sold nationally and upwards of 120 million worldwide. This makes him one of the best-selling music artists of all time. No wonder he has become an icon in country music over the past few decades. Still, throughout his success, Strait faced personal and family struggles. Some of these difficulties are revealed in the heartbreaking details about his son. Let's explore the life of George Strait and uncover the truth about his son's story. George Strait was born on May 18, 1952, in Poteet, Texas. He grew up in a small town called Peel, located in southern Texas. His father, John Strait, was a middle school math teacher and managed a 2,000-acre ranch that had been in their family for many years. When George was young, his parents separated during his elementary school years. He and his brother Buddy were raised by their father, who involved them in ranch work. They spent a lot of time on the ranch, learning the values of rural life. George's music journey started in high school at Pearsall High. He played guitar in a rock band called the Stoics, which focused on the Beatles. He listened to them a lot, along with many other bands popular at that time. Though he was in several rock bands, guitar wasn't his strongest skill. Back then, country music wasn't a big part of his life yet. After high school, he studied for a year at Southwest Texas State University. During this time, he married his high school sweetheart, Norma, in a secret wedding. In 1971, George joined the U.S. Army. While stationed in Hawaii, he practiced guitar and singing more. His love for country music grew, especially from artists like Hank Williams, George Jones, Merle Haggard, and Bob Wills, famous for Western swing. In 1973, during his military service, he played in his first country band at the Army base. After finishing his military service, George continued to develop his music career. In 1975, he returned to Southwest Texas State University to earn a degree in agriculture. By 1979, while still in college, he joined a country band called Stony Ridge after seeing their flyer at school. He later changed the band's name to The Ace and became the lead singer. They performed regularly at clubs near the campus, playing in bars across South and Central Texas. Their reputation grew, and they even opened for major acts like the Texas Playboys. The band had the chance to record some songs George wrote, including That Don't Change the Way I Feel, About You, and I Can't Go On Dying Like This, for a small Houston label called D Records. Unfortunately, the songs didn't become hits. George kept working on his family's ranch during the day to make extra money, all while still playing with the band. George had no industry connections, but his friend Irv Woy, who ran the bar where the band played, had connections from working at a big record label. Irv convinced some Nashville folks to come to Texas and listen to George and his band. They liked the music, but thought the Western swing style wouldn't sell well, so they left without offering a deal. George kept trying to get signed, making many trips to Nashville. Unfortunately, every label turned him down. The industry people weren't sold on his traditional country sound in a time when polished pop and country styles were more popular. Frustrated by the lack of recognition, George seriously considered quitting. He was even offered a job designing cattle pens and told his band he was leaving. His wife convinced him to give music one more year. Soon after, MCA, a major label, signed George to a record deal in February 1981. Their plan was to start with just one song. If it did well, they might make an album and give him a longer contract. His debut song, Unwound, released in 1981, quickly gained popularity. It reached number 6 on the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart. The success made MCA offer him a longer contract, launching his career as a professional musician. This deal opened the door for him to build a successful music career. His top supporter in the band stood by him as he launched his solo career. Over the next decade, George released more than 12 albums, each selling over 1 million copies. After his first honky-tonk album in 1981, he released Straight from the Heart in 1982. That album produced his first #1 country hit, Fool-Hearted Memory. Critics liked the album because it had a traditional country sound, different from the pop-influenced country music popular at the time. George then scored 17 #1 hits, including 5 in a row from 1983 to 1984. These came from albums like Right or Wrong and Does Fort Worth Ever Cross Your Mind? In 1983, he started performing regularly at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. When Eddie Rabbitt got sick, George took over and has performed there dozens of times, with over 1 million fans attending. In 1985, he won the CMA Award for Best Male Vocalist and released his first Greatest Hits album. His album, Something Special, hit #1 and included the hit song The Chair. George repeated his CMA Vocalist of the Year win in 1986 and released his 4th #1 album. Despite his success, 1986 was a painfully difficult year for George and his wife, Norma. The couple had 2 kids. Their first, Jenifer, was born on October 6, 1972. Their son, George Harvey Strait Jr., or Bubba, was born in 1981. Tragedy struck when their 13-year-old daughter Jenifer died in a car accident in 1986. She was riding with Gregory Wilson Allen, who was 18. The accident happened because he was speeding and didn't handle the car well. The vehicle flipped over, and Jenifer, not wearing a seatbelt, was thrown out. She died instantly. After her death, George kept away from the media. He refused interviews and didn't talk about Jenifer's passing for a year. He said he became more private and didn't want to share his pain. He explained, "I got even more private after I lost my daughter. I shut things down and didn't talk to anyone outside my close circle. I thought nothing worse could happen, so I chose to deal with it this way." Despite his grief, George kept performing. He released 11 straight #1 hits during this time, starting with Nobody in His Right Mind Would Have Left Her in 1986. His last hit from that streak was In the Hole in 1989. All these songs came from albums that hit #1 on the country charts. His album, Oceanfront Property, was the first country album ever to debut at #1. George finished the 1980s by winning the CMA Entertainer of the Year award in 1989, and he took it again the next year. He kicked off the 90s with his 10th album, Living It Up, in 1990. That album featured 2 songs that went to #1, Love Without End, Amen, and I've Come to Expect It From You. Both songs stayed at the top for 5 weeks. The next year, he released Chill of an Early Fall, which received good reviews. Entertainment Weekly noted that this album marked a change for George, moving away from his usual style and trying new things. It included hits like If I Know Me and You Know Me Better Than That. However, his streak of 31 top 10 hits ended with his cover of Lovesick Blues, which only reached number 24. Still, the album climbed to number 4 on the charts, ending his run of 8 top-charting albums. In 1992, he released Holding My Own. It didn't produce any number 1 hits, but 2 songs from it made it into the top 5. That year, George also started acting in movies, starring in Pure Country. He sang many popular songs for the film, including I Cross My Heart, Heartland, Where the Sidewalk Ends, and The King of Broken Hearts. In 1995, he released a box set called George Out of the Box, which had 4 discs and sold over 5 million copies. It remains the best-selling country box set ever. In the late 1990s, George released some great albums like Blue Clear Sky in 1996, Carrying Your Love With Me in 1997, and One Step at a Time in 1998. He finished the decade with Always Never the Same. In 1999, the album reached number 2 on the country charts and hit number 6 on the Billboard 200. Like his successful Pure Country album, critics had mixed reviews. Entertainment Weekly noted that by this point in his career, George could turn even simple songs into radio hits with his style and charm. Throughout the 90s, George scored 17 number 1 hits on the Billboard Country Airplay charts, setting him up for more success in the new century. In September 2000, he released a self-titled album featuring popular songs like Go On, If It's Going to Rain, and She Took the Wind from My Sails. These tracks were loved by country fans, and the album went platinum that year. George received the National Medal of Arts from President George W. Bush. By 2005, his album Somewhere Down in Texas was a major hit, producing the CMA-winning song Good News, Bad News, featuring Leanne Womack. The following year, George marked his 30th year in music with a new album called It Just Comes Natural. The album had 15 songs, including 2 co-written with his close friend Dean Dillon. Critics praised the record, with USA Today commending George for consistently delivering top-quality music. One review said George was truly a natural in country music. In 2007, his song Wrapped hit number 1 on the 247 country charts, making it his 55th chart-topping single. Between January and April, he headlined a 23-show arena tour, sharing the stage with Ronnie Milsap and Taylor Swift. George proved he still had a big name in country music. In 2008, he released Troubadour, which went straight to the top of the country album charts. The first single, I Saw God Today, also reached number 1. That year, George won 2 CMA awards, one for Album of the Year and another for Single of the Year. In 2009, he picked up a Grammy for Troubadour and was named Artist of the Decade by the Academy of Country Music. In September 2012, George announced the Cowboy Rides Away tour, along with the release of his album Love Is Everything. In May 2013, he performed his last concert. His song, Give It All We Got Tonight, hit number 1 that year. With that, he reached a total of 60 number 1 hits. This broke Conway Twitty's record for the most number 1s on Billboard's Hot Country Songs chart. Twitty had 40, but George surpassed him with 60. Now he held the record for the most #1 songs across all music charts by any artist in any genre. George wasn't only famous for his many chart toppers, he was also known for his innovative tour style, which featured a 360-degree stage setup and festival-like arrangements. In late 2013, during this tour, he won the Country Music Association's Entertainer of the Year award for the 3rd time. On January 9, 2014, he began the second part of his tour. The tour included performances by Jason Aldean, Miranda Lambert, Little Big Town, Tim McGraw, and others. All these stars came together for the final show in Arlington, Texas, on June 7th. The crowd numbered 114,792 fans. This was his last show for the Cowboy Rides Away tour at AT&T Stadium. It also set a new record as the largest indoor concert in North America in 30 years, beating the Rolling Stones' 1981 show in New Orleans. The concert broke the record for the most money earned at a single country show, pulling in over $18 million. On June 15, 2024, George made history again. He drew the largest crowd ever for a solo U.S. concert. It took place at Kyle Field, Texas A&M University in College Station. About 110,000 fans showed up. That beats the previous record held by The Grateful Dead, which was 17,719 fans in 1977 at a show in New Jersey. The event also set a new record for attendance at Kyle Field. It surpassed the 11,633 fans at a Texas A&M football game against Ole Miss on October 11, 2014. Fans were often amazed because George wasn't just singing about cowboy life. He actually lived it. Many knew he was the real deal and embodied everything he sang about. He grew up working on his father's ranch in South Texas. Many didn't know he spent a lot of time riding horses and raising cattle there. Outside of music, ranching was a big part of his life. He also competed in team roping at rodeos and raised steers for the George Strait Team Roping Classic. He started this event with his brother Buddy more than 20 years ago. It's been noted that he raised animals because he loved the work, not to make money. His passion for ranching came from his father, and he was happy to see his son, George Jr., share that love. They spent many days working the ranch together. George Jr., called Bubba by family, learned how to rope and became good at it. He did well in high school rodeos and joined the Texas A&M University rodeo team. George often said he was proud of his son. He enjoyed doing everything with Bubba. The boy started rodeoing while in college and even joined the professional rodeo circuit. According to the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, Bubba took part in many events, including the 2004 George Strait Team Roping Classic. He had to pause his roping after nearly losing his finger in an accident. Rodeo runs deep in the Strait family. George himself organized the team roping for 35 years and wrapped it up in 2017. He once told the Team Roping Journal that roping was his true passion. His proudest moment was winning with his son. He said there's no better feeling than watching Bubba rope or compete. He added he's probably more nervous than Bubba is while watching. They've won a few buckles together, and to him, that's the best reward. Even though Bubba keeps to himself and avoids the spotlight, he's also involved in music. He's been interested in it since he was young. His voice was first heard on Heartland, the opening song from George's 1992 movie, Pure Country. Growing up, Bubba often worked with his father on writing songs, helping craft tracks like Living for the Night and Out of Sight, Out of Mind from the album Twang, released in 2009. He kept co-writing songs for George's next 4 albums: Here for a Good Time in 2011, Love is Everything in 2013, Cold Beer Conversation in 2015, and Honky Tonk Time Machine in 2019. Even George admitted that his son's help reignited his passion for writing. Bubba said, "He really got me back into writing. Watching him grow as a songwriter has been great. He loves playing guitar and is doing really well." Working with him at this stage of his career has been a blessing. Bubba has often been seen with his father at major events. He attended the 2007 Country Music Hall of Fame medallion ceremony, the 44th Annual Academy of Country Music Awards in 2009, where George was named Artist of the Decade, and the 50th Annual ASCAP Country Music Awards in Nashville in 2012. In 2012-2014, Bubba joined George on stage during a concert in Arlington, Texas. This was the last stop of George's 2-year The Cowboy Rides Away tour. They performed Arkansas Dave, a song Bubba wrote himself. After that show, George stopped touring. The performance was filmed for CMT's George Strait, The Cowboy Rides Away concert special. Bubba, however, plans to keep writing songs for his father. He finds joy in working with him. Though Bubba doesn't use social media, his wife Tamara often shares photos of them on Instagram. They met in 2005 at a San Antonio Spurs game where Tamara danced as a silver dancer. They got engaged in 2010 and married that December. They have 2 children, George Harvey Strait III, born in 2012, and Jillian Louise Strait, born in 2016. Tamara once posted, "Marriage is the toughest thing I've ever done, just before becoming a parent. It's not always easy, but I am lucky to have a husband who loves me, supports my work, and walks in faith with me." Harvey has even performed with his grandpa at the Houston Rodeo, singing George's song, God and Country Music. Later, at Game 6 of the 2022 World Series, both Harvey and Jillian were there with their mom and grandma Norma. Grandpa George wore a Houston Astros hat in Jersey, while he and Harvey did the play-by-play in 2022. He told Cowboys and Indians that his grandson tried drums for a while and might pick them up again, but right now he's into baseball, hunting, and fishing. George also said his granddaughter has sung a little and sounds pretty good. It's too soon to say what their future holds, but George supports whatever they choose to do. George Strait's rise from a small-town boy in Texas to a top country music star is a story of hard work, passion, and perseverance. Despite facing personal setbacks and tough times in the industry, he never lost faith in his dream. Along with his successful music career, George's strong ties to family, especially his son Bubba, show his down-to-earth values. With decades of hit songs and a life spent ranching and rodeoing, George has become a true icon of country music. Many see him as the rightful king of the genre.